Again, Jim, thank you. My name is Andy Wolfe. I am one of the partners here at Drone Brothers. I'm going to take you guys through a real quick presentation. There's a lot of information to cover. I want to give you everyone kind of a big picture of what drones are capable of doing or what we do in this space. Most people in the construction world, if you ask a project manager or superintendent, what are drones good for? The answer I hear most often is they're great for taking pretty pictures from all four corners of the site. I hope after this meeting, you all kind of understand that there are way more than that. And every day that goes on, as the technology improves, these drones keep getting better and better at helping out with safety and other issues on the job site. So thank you again. Take you through a quick presentation, and then I'll leave the end of it up for questions and answers, because I'm here to help you guys. The one thing I've learned in doing this for 8 years is the single best thing I can do is just educate the world in the construction world on drones. And if I can educate people on that, that's half the battle. So quick history. So Drone Brothers are actually two of my kids. I come from an entrepreneurial family. My dad taught me the world of entrepreneurism, and my kids kind of learned it from me as well. They came to me 8 summers ago and said they wanted to buy a drone, and me being the old guy that I was, I had have them explain to me what a drone even was or what they did. But we started this business 8 years ago, and I'll kind of take you through a little history as we go along. One of the things, there's two schools of thought playing out now in the world of drones and construction. Either do it yourself, buy a drone, train your superintendents how to fly the drone, get Part 107 certified, learn how to make videos, learn how to make maps, learn all that stuff yourself internally. Or the second school of thought is hire a drone service provider, which we are, to come out and take that load off your shoulders. So a couple things to look for with a drone service provider. You got to make sure they've got insurance. We have a $2 million insurance liability policy. With a simple phone call, we can add you guys on as additionally insured to our policy, which is not a problem. All of our pilots are Part 107 trained and certified. Part 107 is just a part of the FAA rules that you have to have a Part 107 rating in order to fly a drone in the United States legally. One of the things I hear most often from our clients is it's one point of contact. So this holds to you guys as well. So whether you got a job in St. Louis, in Columbus, in Kansas City, in Nashville, it's one phone call to one contact at my company, and you know that you're going to get a consistent product every single time. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we take you through the presentation. We take care of everything we have a pilot network already established, so we take care of everything from the insurance to the pilots that are all certified and trained. We give you a consistent product every time. So again, when you're looking at a video for a job in St. Louis versus a video for a job in Columbus, it's going to be the exact same format, the exact same flow, the exact same branding for your company, and all the assets are stored at one link on box for you guys to be able to get access to all this stuff as well. I'm a little bit old school. I'm 58 years old, so I'm a little bit old school. I love the new technology. I have to in this space, but we're all about picking up a phone and talking to a live person. You're not going to go through a phone tree and wait on hold for an hour or have to text or tweet us to get. You're going to talk live to somebody if you're having a problem or an issue or you need help onboarding a new job. So I'm a little bit of a stickler about the old school standards. We do this on a nationwide basis. Again, we're headquartered in southeastern Michigan. That's how we started. And early on in our company, we would get in the car and drive all over Michigan and northern Indiana and Ohio and do stuff. And we kind of learned pretty quickly that when one of our clients expands to a job in Omaha or to San Diego, we can't get on a plane and deliver the same level of service. So many, many years ago, we made a decision that we're going to start building out the pilot network, have our pilots in place, trained properly, consistent, and everything else. So we've got that already established. This is an example of a few of our clients that we work with on a nationwide basis and partial list. And I'm going to send a copy of this presentation to Jim, so don't worry about taking notes. You guys will have a copy of this full presentation. I'm going through this pretty quick, but if you want to stop and go deep dive into anything that I'm covering, you'll be able to look at this as a PDF anytime you want. So this is a couple testimonials from a few of our clients. The importance of drones. So what we're going to cover today, obviously, drones have a big factor with helping out in safety and mitigating risk on the job site. Ultimately, we hope that drones are going to be able to help you save time and save money. One of the main things drones are really good for is monitoring progress or tracking progress over time on a job site. Again, if we have all this data collected, you're going to be able to view this data and help you make better decisions faster. And again, all this information is organized for your workflow, and you can get access to the stuff via your computer, your tablet, or your phone. So everything I'm showing you today will be accessible via all your devices. So quick icebreaker question. So I think we're hopefully all connected. You guys are unmuted. If you're not, unmute real quick. And does anybody know, according to the FAA, what the maximum altitude a drone can fly legally in the United States? Any guesses?
Our drone pilot is in a continuing education course this morning, so he would hopefully be able to answer that question.
Well, that would be a good test. So, yeah, so 400 feet's the answer. So, Jim, you better ask him when he's out of his training. Ask if he knows what the maximum altitude. If he doesn't, we gotta have to talk to that boy. So, 400 feet. So 400 feet above ground level. So the FAA considers ground level obviously the ground. Or if you're building a building, if you got a 20-story building, they consider the 20th floor as the ground level. We can go up from there 400 feet. But in order to legally fly in the United States, you have to do two things. You got to be certified as FAA pilot, and you got to keep the drone under 400 feet on a commercial site. And the third thing, you need to keep the drone in what's called line of sight. So the technology is there that you can look down at your controller and you can fly the drone, kind of like most of these kids play games and on their GameCube and Game Boy and Xbox and everything else. They can look over goggles and do that stuff. You can do that, but if you want to be legal, you got to be able to look out your eyes and see where the drone is at all times. You have a person standing next to you be able to see the drone as well. So we break things down. We're take through the whole construction application. We break things down into three phases: pre-construction, during construction, and post-construction. So I'm going to take you through how our clients are now using drones in each of these phases. Phase one, pre-construction. We get hired quite often by developers, by the general contractors themselves to help with site selection. What you see on your screen here is an image of some soccer fields in southeastern Michigan. This was one of 6 sites that we were asked to fly. We got hired by JLL, which is a big commercial developer out of Texas, because Mercedes-Benz was getting ready to build a world headquarters for the financial division in southeastern Michigan. So they gave us a list of 6 different sites they wanted us to fly. And hold on a second, my computer is moving to another screen. All right, so they gave us a list of 6 different sites they wanted us to fly because they wanted to save Mercedes-Benz and their team a lot of time looking at these sites without having to get in a car and drive to site on the first go around, and they can get a big picture of what things look like on that site, how many trees there were that they need to be cut down. Are there a bunch of old junk cars on the site they have to remove? What was the slopes of the site, again, before they get too deep into them? And most importantly, they gave us a shot list and said, we want to know from our client's perspective, what are the views going to look like looking out the second story window to the southwest? So we went out and followed this shot list and put together a drone video showing them all these key points of reference so they could, again, sit in their office and look at all 6 sites without having to go through a foot of snow or mud or what have you on each of the sites. So great example of using drones in the site selection process. Next thing is we get hired quite a bit to help out with zoning meetings. So rather than having to wait for someone from the zoning department in the city to come out to the site, get in a gator, drive across the site, go through swampy area, go through snow, what have you, we get hired quite often to bring the site to a zoning meeting. So we can take the drone out, we can fly the site and get information that our clients, the GCs, or the developers need, so they can bring that video to a zoning meeting and speed up the whole process. What you see on your screen here, this is a site that was developed. It's now got a beautiful, beautiful building on. An Israeli company actually came in and built this in Michigan. And they had a zoning, the township had proposed a deceleration lane be added to this road, and no one wanted to spend the extra money to do a deceleration lane. And so the client hired us and said, let's go out during rush hour and let's just set the drone up in the sky and film what traffic was like from 5:15 to 5:45 during rush hour at this intersection, so we can go back and prove to the city that a deceleration lane would not be needed for this piece of property. We've been asked to come out to sites to show the flow of water. So how is the water flowing from the back corner of the site to out to the roadway? And again, the only way our clients would have been able to get out there is gotten a rowboat or something else to get in these swampy areas to see it. The drone was great at being able to go do that. So again, a couple examples of pre-construction. Documentation and legal protection. This is probably number one. There are not very many sites that we start these days that we're not getting a map done of the current road conditions leading to that site. And I learned this kind of not the hard way, but I learned this early on. One of our clients said to us, hey, we're getting ready to do an Amazon building here, and we need you to go out and fly down this main road and turn left on this main road and just point the camera of the drone down and get what the road conditions are like. And I kind of scratched my head, well, what is that all about? And they wanted the road conditions documented so that the city, the state, the township, the county couldn't come back to them and say, hey, you guys busted up our roads, you owe us for that. So now most of our jobs that we don't start the project unless we get a base map done. And this I'm going to get into a little more details, but this gray area is where the drone flew and where it captured mapping data. Everything outside of this is Google Earth. You guys are used to Google Earth and Google Maps. When you zoom in on our maps, you actually get some really spectacular views of the site. So let me zoom in here. Might take a second on the internet connection here. But when you zoom in, you can see all the cracks, the potholes, the pits in the road with great detail. This is date stamped. This is time stamped. Everything is, our clients know that as of March 26, 2018, when we flew this property, what the road conditions were like from the main road, which is off to the east here, right to the cul-de-sac to where the job site was. The roads are documented, and my internet's going really slow here. But I'm going to get into this mapping a bit more. The job site is here at the end of the cul-de-sac, but again, we got the roads documented leading to the site before the project starts. So that's the third thing we get hired for on pre-construction. Any questions on kind of the pre-construction stuff I covered? All right, we'll continue on. So during the construction phase, so we get hired to do three things: capture progress photos, capture videos, and capture maps. So photos we break down three ways. So progress photos, you guys are all familiar with typical photos. I'm going to show you some examples here. Come on, internet, you can do it. So we look at photos three ways. What I call where the action is, where we go out on a job site, if there's cement being poured that day, if there's walls being put up, if there's steel being raised, the pilot at their discretion and with the input from the superintendent on site will go out and capture shots from that day that are really important to you. And these are examples of, again, just progress photos that are captured. Again, one of the things we do different than most companies is the pictures that come out of the drones come out really clear, clean, and good looking. We put them through one level of editing to clean them up, to make the skies bluer, the grass greener, to make everything look a little better. Because again, we're representing you and you're representing your client you're building for. We want you guys to have a nice looking assets to share with your client. So these are an example of the hand-flown progress photos that we capture. The second thing we do is we do what's called a photo report. And a photo report is an automated mission. So we program the drone and we tell the drone to fly from one side of the site and do one lap around the site and capture 16 images from around the site. So you get, every week we do this, or every month we do this, or every 2 weeks when we do this, you get the same consistent shots every time from the same angle, the same altitude, the same elevation. So you can go back and look at it, print this PDF out and look from week to week how the site is being developed over time. And you can also put captions on here if you want to make some notes on here of what angle it was or what was happening that day. You can put some captions on this as well. And again, this is a PDF that you guys can easily hit the share button, share with your team, your subs, whoever. So this is photo number 2, is a photo tour. The third thing we do is and this is a favorite amongst the superintendents, these are the panoramas. And panoramas are just what they sound like. We send the drone to 1 or 2 different spots on the site. If it's a big enough site, we go from end to end and capture both ends of the site. And the panoramas look something like this. Let it load. It gives you a 360-degree view of the site that you can take your mouse on your iPad, your iPhone, or the computer and spin around and zoom in. And you can literally count objects on the site if you want. You can do inspections for safety procedures. Again, it's just a tool that has become kind of the favorite amongst the teams, these panorama views. So that takes care of photos. So hand-flown photos, photo tour, 1 lap around the site, and then panoramas from different points along the site as well. Our second package or second level of service are progress videos. So progress videos are the pilot is out there for 15 or 20 minutes capturing raw video footage. We then take that video footage and we put it into a 1.5 to 2 minute long best of highlight reel. So again, I'm not going to bore you guys too much with this, but I'll show you a quick example of what we do for a video. We typically open the video with your company's logo, branding, the client's name, the date of the shoot, and again, I'll just play you a quick little section of this video. This is a job we did down in Tucson, Arizona. Tempe, Arizona. So again, it gives you a video perspective of the site to, again, use for your Friday meetings with the owners, to stop the videos at any time to kind of figure out what's going on the site, point things out on the site. And again, these are great to use for marketing purposes as well. When the roof goes up, we usually get called in to then come inside the building as well. Drones and the technology and the cameras are getting so good now that being able to come inside a building and capture interior shots is a fairly easy thing to do with the drone. Again, office space that you're doing, small confined areas, we got different equipment, we can come in with that. But for big, wide open areas, we can either literally hold the drone in our hand and the pilots can walk through, or they can send the drone in the air and walk behind the drone and walk end to end of a building. So again, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but this is a quick example of a Amazon building we did up in Wisconsin. It's a 4-story building. We literally flew end to end on all 4 floors of the building to get, again, big picture of what's going on, because they had to report back to Amazon, their client, every week what was happening on the site. So again, the technology, the cameras are spectacular that you get a really good looking view.
Can we pick the music out ourselves?
Can you pick the music out?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got a whole library of music choice that we draw from all the time, kind of keep it subtle and cool. As long as we can't go out and unless you guys want to spend the money to buying a license, we have licensed music that we buy that's kind of generic. If you wanted a Britney Spears song playing in the background, we're gonna have to pay a licensing fee for that. But yes, you guys can pick out.
Got it. No jam bands, Jason.
Yeah. So that's yes, you can pick out the music, but this is the that's an example of the interior of a building. And again, I'm going to get into a little more details of what we do now. We can do the drone inside. The other thing we can do is, and this is really cool. Let me see if I can find you guys an example of this. If you've not heard of a company called Cupix, Cupix, they are a software engineering company. They're out of California. They were in kind of secret for the last 3 years, and a year ago today, they actually launched live to the public. They've got some really cool software. We are their drone company for Cupix on a nationwide basis. We actually just signed this deal last week. So they hire us and our pilots to go fly jobs. Cupix does two things really well. They take and capture aerial shots of the outside of the building, and they're really good at doing interiors of the building. So they call it the digital twin. So they can take, you can see on the left side of my screen, here's the site plan for the floor plan for the building. Every one of these little blue dots on here is a different spot where the camera went and took a picture. So basically, we can take a 360 camera and walk through the inside of your buildings and capture this kind of quality shots of what's going on. And with the simple push of a button, we can literally walk from one end of the building to the next to give you guys a view of what's going on inside the building. It's a digital twin of what's happening, and then we can start taking measurements. This stuff is just crazy what can be done. But again, this is an example of an interior walkthrough, and if I want to jump from the first floor to the second floor, I can simply push a button, and this is an iFly location. I can now jump upstairs and go from room to room upstairs and get a virtual walkthrough of the building. So this is called Cupix. We're just starting to do this now. You take a 360 camera, either put it on a selfie stick or mount it on a hard hat, and our pilot can walk end to end in the building in a matter of minutes, capture the footage. We upload it to Cupix servers. They take and digest it and make pretty pictures and pretty shots like this to be able to give you a virtual walkthrough of your building. And again, we can push a button and walk from one end of the building to the next from the comfort of your computer. So that's an example of an interior walkthrough using Cupix. Now that was good stuff, but now they're really kind of the game changer. So the third thing we do really well is mapping. So mapping is, I showed you a brief example early on. This is an example of a live site. This is a Top Golf out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We fly all the Top Golfs across the country, but this will give you an example of the quality and what you can see with a drone map. So what the drone does is it goes up and it captures, this is not Top Golf. Got a different example here, but that's okay. So the drone goes up and it captures, in this case, it captures 620 pictures. So the drone, all the light area here is where the drone flies. So the drone goes up like a lawnmower, and it literally goes back and forth across the screen, capturing images. And this would probably have taken 30 minutes or so to fly this. This is an Amazon facility. It probably took 30 minutes to fly this. We take these 620 pictures, we upload them to Drone Deploy, which is our partner in making these maps and panos. And what you can do is you can now zoom in on these maps and literally look inside the back of a pickup truck if you wanted to see what's going on the site. So as I continue to zoom in here, I know the internet connection is probably slowing us down a bit, but from seeing the footings to, again, counting objects on the site, the software is just spectacular, and it gives you a view that you've never had before besides walking around the site with an iPhone, that you can, again, zoom in and see what's going on the site. Again, we'll have to let the internet catch up with us here, but this is an example of what these drone maps look like. And again, this is our kind of our third level of service, from good to better to best, but great for inspections, great for, again, sharing with your trades what's going on the site. If you got some steel coming in next week, you want to show them where to pile the steel, you can mark that off on this map. You can drop pins on this map. We can take measurements. So again, I learned this early on 7 years ago. I went to a site of an early Amazon facility in Detroit, and the superintendent is out there walking around the site with a rope in one hand, a tape measure, and a can of spray paint. And I had my drone out there that day to map the site. We actually weren't mapping it. We were just flying it for pictures. I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, it's a brand new site. There's a bunch of concrete that was here because it was an old GM plant." He said, "I'm going out and marking all the concrete and measuring all the concrete because we got to figure out how much time it's going to take and how much concrete we got to dig up and tear up to get this site ready." I said, "Well, how long is it going to take you to do that?" Because this was probably a 80 or 90 acre site. He said, "Well, I'm going to be here for the next few hours doing this." I said, "Well, you do your thing. Let me do my thing. Let me map this for you, and we're going to map this out. And I'm curious. This was early on. Let's compare numbers with each other. You measure what you're going to measure. I'm going to measure it via the map." We are within 1 or 2% of each other with the maps, and I was able to tell him, again, with a simple cut and paste on my mouse, I can measure all the concrete, the square yardage of the concrete on the site, and we were within 1 or 2% of what he had got with his measurements. That early on, I wanted to know that when I was selling and promoting with this drone deploy software, the numbers are right. So this stuff is right on numbers as far as measurement goes. So if you got to put a fence from one end of the site to the other, you need to know how far it is. I can tell you to the inch how much fencing you're going to need to do that. So mapping is a game changer in this space. We can go one level further with the mapping. If you provide us your utility plan or a site plan or a PDF of one of your plans, we can overlay that plan into our map. And it works both ways. We can get you our map and export it from this system for you to put in your CAD system so you can overlay it as well. So what you see on your screen here now is a job site where our client had us overlay the site plan. And again, I'm not an engineer or a superintendent, nor do I play one on TV, but you can learn so much from having this. And again, this is accurate down within inches. So you're going to be able to know that if the parking lot is supposed to be here and there's still trees that need to be cleared, something's off. Or the power lines are here. We thought we got enough clear. You're going to know if things are off early on to save countless mistakes, because again, this is the site plan overlaid over our map. And if I turn the site plan off, there's just the drone images. And if I push the button to turn the site plan back on, and again, we can have different levels of site plans. We can have a utility plan. We can have all different levels in here that you can upload to us, and you have access to this as well. And again, here are all the measurement tools on the right-hand side for measuring distance, measuring volume, doing stockpile measurements as well with the drone software. All right. Stockpile volumetrics. Again, we're not surveyors. We don't play surveyors. Surveyors still have their roles in this world. But the way I see technology going, it's just a matter of time that either the surveyors are going to adapt drones and start using them to get data, or they're going to have to find another business for themselves, because drones are getting really, really good at doing stuff that surveyors do. And we can put down ground control points and take measurements down to the inch as far as accuracy goes. But for what you need, we get hired quite a bit to come out and capture stockpiles. So if you need to know plus or minus 5% of where that stockpile is, so you know the trucking company is telling you the truth as far as how many cubic yards they have to haul away, these drones can do that plus or minus 5% accuracy. If you need to know the exact number, you're going to still need a surveyor to climb on top of a rock pile with the equipment and measure these things. But what takes the surveyor, if you had 10 rock piles developing on your site, what would take him a half a day to collect and go back and process, we can fly it in a matter of minutes, and with a matter of hours can get you something that looks like this and can get you a cubic volume calculation that's, again, plus or minus, to give you a rough idea of where things are at for spreading stuff across the site or having a trucking company come out and haul it away. So that's good for that as well. This was kind of fascinating to me. Everything I just showed you is all on the computer. So the maps I just showed you are all electronic. But what really fascinated me is we learned how to export these maps. We learned how to print these maps out. So if you can see me on your camera, this is actually what a printout of a map looks like. This is 20 inches by 30 inch. And again, if you were to look up close to this thing, it's high resolution image of what the maps. The superintendents can't wait for us to mail these or show up on the site, because they hang these on the wall in the trailer, and it gives them a reference point they've never had before they can walk up to, and with a highlighter or a marker, they can laminate these things. And again, they can point things out they've never been able to do before, because they've got this aerial view looking straight down of their entire site to see what's going on. So this is another favorite amongst the superintendents, when they can put these on their wall and can share these with the subcontractors and their team to show what's going on the site, rather than getting in a gator and driving through 6 inches of snow to point something out. So we provide these maps as one of our levels of service. Any questions on the photos, the videos, the panoramas, or the mapping that I can stop and answer for you while I'm here?
Doesn't sound like it, Andy.
Okay.
Take us home.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, post-construction. So we're almost there. So post-construction, when we have all these assets that we've captured, videos, photos, panos, we can do really cool things with these. So for example, we can do a time lapse of the mapping. So again, this is just a cool thing to be able to show your client, to wow them. It's a cool thing for your new business development people to show. Hey, here's how we take a site from raw dirt and an old GM plant to a finished Amazon building. So I'm going to show you again a quick section of this. This is a time lapse of a map over an 18-month period of time of what was an old Ford Visteon site, which became a state-of-the-art Amazon facility. So again, just a cool wow factor to be able to show off a development of a site. Okay. We could also do time-lapse videos. So we can take, since we're taking photos from the exact same location every single time we're out there, we can put together a cool time-lapse video with either the photos or with video footage, again, that looks something, we can set it to music and looks something like this. So again, this can be done at the end of the project. We get calls from our superintendents and project managers during the project. They say, hey, we're 90 days in. We got a meeting next week with the owners. Can you take and put together a quick little time lapse showing from where we started to where we're at today? And again, this is the fun stuff that we love to do. We got a team of editors on staff that can help with this stuff. So again, that's an example of a time lapse that we do. Jim mentioned last week when I talked about you guys are moving to Procore, we can take all the assets that we capture and dump them into Procore for you. So if that's the place you're going to be going to look at stuff, we can certainly put the photos into Procore for you. Again, we can take the export stuff from our drone deploy software, the BIM modeling, the drone image to put with your site plans. You can put that into your CAD or Autodesk system, so it goes both ways and integrates. And again, all these assets we capture, we'd love to be, when we start doing business with new clients, we'd love to be connected with the social media / marketing directors at the companies, because we've got a team of video editors on staff that can typically help out with making you guys look good and to the world, to help you guys with some videos to put together so you can put on your YouTube channel, your Facebook page, your homepage, to be able to show off examples of your work. So again, we can help with all that stuff as well. And last thing, I'll give you, this looks more complicated than it is. Our pricing is pretty simple. Even though it looks complicated, we have 3 levels of service. We've got coach class, which is photos, and the photos can include panos, photo report, and hand flown photos. Business class is photos, panos, photo reports, and video, a professionally edited 60 to 90-second highlight video. And our first class shoot is all the above. It's everything I just described plus maps. We do a digital version of the map, orthomosaic map, and we print out a hard copy that gets sent to the trailer to hang on the wall. So that's our first class shoot. Within each class, the pricing breaks down. If you called and said, hey, we just finished a job, too late to get ongoing stuff, but you get us just a one-time shot of photos only, that's the one-time shot. If you said, hey, we want you guys to come out every 4 times a month, once a week, come out and capture photos, videos, and a map, that price breaks down accordingly within each category. We're not big on upselling our clients. I hate being upsold myself, so we don't do it to our clients, but we do have an add-on page. The thing that happens most often is FAA fees. If we got to deal with the FAA and that bureaucracy, and you're building something within a controlled airspace, we got to deal with them. There's extra time and admin involved in that, so we have an FAA fee involved per flight to coordinate with them. The second most popular thing is probably sites over 70 acres. If it gets into be a really big site, we got to charge you more because there's more processing time, there's more flying time, there's more data involved in those. So there's an over 70 acre fee. And then our separate charges, this is going to change. This is just to fly inside. Cupics, we're working on some pricing to give you the Cupics model. We'll have those out in the next couple of weeks. But interior flights over 70 acres and FAA is probably the most popular add-ons that happen for the flights. And 35 minutes to the number. I'm done. That's the end of the presentation. And I can say I will send a copy of this to Jim to share. My number is on the screen here. If you have any questions, you've got any ideas, hey, I wonder if drones can do this, do not hesitate to call and reach out to me. We're here to help. We're here to learn. And we've been doing this 8 years, but we are always looking for new ways of doing things and helping our clients out. So any questions I can answer before we cut you guys loose? Perfect. So last thing I'll leave you with, this is actually, we use box.com for storing all of our data. What's really nice for you guys and our clients is you're going to have one box link to get to all of your projects. So it's not a matter of having 50 different projects with some on Box, some on Dropbox, some on iCloud, some on Google Drive. Everything for us is going to be in one location. So as this thing grows, you guys can literally just click on, if you want to get into the Cubes project, you'll click on one link, and within that folder, there's the raw footage, and then there's the final images. And these are all broken down by date. So we have the same format for every job. It's the job, it's the raw, it's the final, and within each of those folders, it's the date of the jobs that we flew. So as this Cubes project keeps going on, you'll just keep seeing more folders being added, but it's one link every time. It's not a matter of going around the office, hey, who's got the link from last week's flight in Columbus at Cubes? It's all at one spot for you guys to have access and get access to. Thanks again, Jim. Talk to you guys later.